Welcome, dear governors and friends, to the 2024 Board of Governors meeting. My name is Lauren Izo, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies today. It is a true honor to MC this event for such a distinguished group. Now, before we begin, it's important that you all know what to do in case there is a red alert siren. First of all, of course, do not panic. Please stay in your seats, put your head between your knees, and protect it with your hands. When we're outside and if the sirens go off during lunch, you should lie on the ground and protect your head with your hands. Now, this year's board is operating under the shadow of war. We just now paid our respects at the memorial ceremony. Nevertheless, organizers have put together a fascinating program this week of talks, tours, ceremonies, and social events. As is traditional at the opening of the meeting, we would first like to pay our respects to those governors who have passed away over the past year.
Sonia Abramovich, Israel. Mark Beeson, Australia. Joseph Brender, Australia. Henry Factor, Germany. Byron Janis, USA. Georg Katz, Austria, Germany, Switzerland. Professor David Libai, Israel. Simon Sarin, Venezuela. Avraham Baiga Shochat, Israel. Sigfrido Freddy Strauss, Argentina. Jeannie Tenenbaum, Canada. Phyllis Topchik, USA. Professor Stephen Weinberg, USA. Zohar Zisapel, Israel.
May their memory be a blessing. Among the outstanding individuals we lost this year was Professor Yoram Dinstein, who served as president of Tel Aviv University from 1990 to 1998, and whom many of you knew and admired. Together with his family, the university prepared a short tribute video. Please watch.
He was scary smart, scary smart, probably the smartest guy I've known.
He really had this kind of like an institutional focus on Tel Aviv University and how it will look into the future.
Professor Dinstein was one of the founding fathers of international legal studies in Israel.
אני נולדתי תריסר שנים לפני המדינה, והייתי עד לתקומתה כחוט השערה.
My father was born in 1936 in Tel Aviv, second out of three children, in a very Zionist home. And he spent his childhood reading. And when he wasn't reading, he was writing. The soundtrack of my childhood was the two-fingered clicking away on the typewriters.
He was an imposing figure, and he was an imposing intellect.
After he completed his PhD, he joined the Israeli Foreign Ministry and was posted in New York as a consul, working on Aliyah of the Russian Jews.
We converged internationally on those issues, and Yoram was the preeminent legal person in that struggle.
During the years he was president of Tel Aviv University from 1991 to 1999, he was constantly involved in building up the campus.
That was Yoram. He constantly was coming with programs, with issues, with building that he had in mind. I was privy to some discussions that he had with donors. It was quite remarkable to see Yoram approaching donors and basically explaining them why they want to give their money more than Tel Aviv University needs their money.
Professor Dienstein was one of their most outstanding experts on the laws of armed conflict, also referred to as international humanitarian law, and the laws applicable to the use of force.
המשפט אמור לתת ביטוי הולם לצרכים ולערכים של החברה.
His greatest contribution wasn't so much in the scholarship, which will live on for years and years, but the fact that he made this body of law more humane in its application on the battlefield.
Professor Dienstein wrote the basic books that covered different areas of international law, and he was the teacher of generations of students who later became prominent scholars and practitioners and public servants in Israel.
לא הפרס הוא הפרס, אלא נותנת הפרס היא הפרס. כלומר, מדינת ישראל.
The Israel Prize is the highest honor that can be bestowed on a civilian in Israel. My father was very touched when he was nominated and awarded this prize, recognizing his life achievements.
He was a pioneer. He was a preeminent figure in the field, and his impact will be felt, for generations to come.
Certainly likely that 30 or 40 or 50 years from now, people will be reading Dienstein has the authority on the use of force, the law of self-defense, the conduct of hostilities in armed conflict.
His parting words from us were about the importance of the Jewish people and the state of Israel and his Zionism.
I just miss him, like so many others. I miss the friendship, I miss the exchanges, I miss the humor, but at least I have the memories.
I would now like to invite our board chairwoman, Mrs. Dafna Meitar-Nechmad, to the podium to deliver her address.
Dear governors, newly elected members, friends and guests, welcome and thank you for coming. Your presence on campus is more important to us at Tel Aviv University and to Israel this year than ever before. Before you came, I'm sure you were asked, are you sure? Is this the time to fly to Israel? Aren't you afraid? Not to mention the high airfares? So no, we don't take it for granted that you are here in solidarity. Since our last conference, the world has turned upside down. The horrific brutality of the October 7th attack, hundreds murdered or fallen, the hostages, the spread of fake news, the tsunami of anti-Semitism, the worldwide campus demonstrations, the hateful language on the local and global stage. This is our shocking reality. It is no coincidence that we chose to open our board meeting with a memorial ceremony. When writing this speech, I considered spending my entire time standing silent. This is not time for festivities, but rather time to gather for mutual support, for gaining understanding, for stock-taking, and for looking ahead towards the university's role and our own leadership roles when the war finally ends. Our own university community suffered a severe blow due to the war. We have October 7th victims, fallen and injured soldiers, and even a kidnapped woman, Naama Levy, daughter of Dr. Ayelet Levi-Shachar from Taos Sylvan Adams Sports Institute, who has been languishing in Gaza for over 7 months. On the upside, Tel Aviv University was quick to respond to critical needs resulting from the war, setting up an emergency fund that many of you supported along with Tau friends from all over the world. We have prepared a short clip summarizing Tau's civic and academic activities. Please.
1 week before October 7th, I was on a vacation in Italy. Imagine the shock of going from relaxing fun to battlefield readiness. I was called up to the north, where I served for 2.5 months. It was and remains an emotional time. Many of my friends in Golani have been killed. We were glad to learn that the university granted us tuition grants for all 7,000 university reservist students. It meant one less thing to worry about, and we felt that we weren't in this alone.
I flew in to Tel Aviv on October 5th with my wife to prepare for and begin my master's in emergency management program at Lowy International School. But with classes delayed and the campus empty, we began looking for ways to do our part and help out. We formed a student task force to battle misinformation online with about 50 TAU international students from 9 countries. And it wasn't just us. With help from the amazing global community, the university prepared and sponsored tons of activities for students, faculty, and staff to volunteer. Thousands of us worked on farms, factories, in schools, and evacuee centers, helping displaced families, farmers from the south, struggling businesses, and soldiers.
In just 3 months, the university opened up an emergency PTSD clinic to help our country with this enormous tragedy. We opened our doors on January 1st and have been treating almost 90 patients per week, including soldiers, civilians, and also students.
Returning to studies have been really challenging, but everyone, our professors, the university, and caring donors all around the world are doing everything they can to help us get back to our lives and succeed.
Thank you.
Merci. Muchas gracias. Toda rabba. Thank you.
Thank you all again for your financial and moral support, especially in the first devastating weeks, but also later when thousands of our student reservists returned to campus and we needed to help them save the school year. It is only natural that Tel Aviv University has contributed to the national effort in the past 8 months. Tau is not an ivory tower, and its leadership, faculty, and students are an important part of the puzzle called Israel, and we continue to be involved and concerned. Now we ask ourselves, how will the university contribute going forward? How will we? The answer? The same way we always have, just more. Tel Aviv University, like all universities here, is a pillar of Israel development and prosperity. In science, medicine, security, technology, the key innovations come out of academia or from our outstanding graduates. We will double down on conducting excellent research, teaching students, engaging with the broader community, and expanding our collaborations internationally. Our social role has never been more critical. We must continue to invest in less fortunate groups of whom a higher education is often out of reach, especially periphery, minority, and ultra-Orthodox students. We are determined to educate the next generation in values of tolerance, openness, democracy, ensuring that our university remains a beacon of hope and progress. Social trust is not a luxury. It's a necessity for a country's resilience over the long term. Let me show you a video of a Tau expert in that field.
Periodically, to see how the level of resilience fluctuate throughout time according to what is happening in the country and to the population specifically. For me, understanding resilience is actually to study the human mind, the human soul. We want to be able to improve the resilience and the well-being of populations and societies here in Israel, in Jewish communities throughout the world, and in societies at large. What is the level of resilience? What is our capacity to cope with adversity, continue to function effectively and be able to maybe emerge even stronger. We actually started, even before the war, to assess the level of resilience and the coping mechanisms before the COVID. We then went on through the COVID to measure it. We continued during the year of the judicial reform. And when the war started, we immediately measured it in the week after October 7th. And then we actually measure it periodically to see how the level of resilience fluctuate throughout time according to what is happening in the country and to the population specifically. What we found in the first week of October 7th, all of us were in shock. So the level of distress were high, but at the same time, both the individual resilience as well as the societal resilience were much higher than they were on the weeks before. But throughout time, and we measured it every month or 2 months since the launching of the war, we see a decline in the level of resilience, which means that our belief and trust in the institutional entities and in the government has been going down. The level of social solidarity is going down, and even our sense of patriotism, our attachment to the country, it's going down. And this trend is certainly concerning. For us in the academia, we don't want to be an ivory tower of research. We want to do elements that are applicable, that will actually make an impact. We prepare a report, we send it to the different committees of the parliament, we upload it to our website so that it's actually open access to anyone who is interested, in the hope that it impacts those who actually make the policies. We believe that all the information and data that we generate has to be the basis for making the decisions, because only if you understand what is happening to the population can you design policies that will actually help you achieve your objectives.
During the next few days, you will be hearing many experts talking about the war, each one providing us with a new and fascinating perspective. Then there's the day after the war. And here too, Tel Aviv University is well positioned to contribute. Look at just at the amazing project being launched this week in neuroscience, psychology, nano, quantum, regenerative medicine, Parkinson's, digital medicine, and democracy and human rights, among others. And that's just in a single week. Alongside cutting-edge science and scholarship, other amazing things are happening on our campus, such as increasing the number of women at the top. This year alone, 2 major faculties appointed female deans, Professor Karen Avraham in medicine, and just recently, Professor Yael Steinhardt in management. I'm proud to say we now have 4 female deans out of 9. I wish it was not an achievement worth mentioning, but believe me when I say that this is a unique phenomenon among Israeli universities. To be sure, we are facing immense challenges as well, ones that pain and worry all of us, including the increasing isolation of Israel politically, economically, and academically. Greatly challenging times can unleash great ambitions. Later in this session, Dr. Anita Friedman will be introducing a new fundraising campaign, and in the next session, Professor Porat will outline priorities. We, the governors, must get behind the campaign and behind the President's priorities and push Tel Aviv University into its next phase of growth and success. Being together gives us a sense of purpose, inspiration, and strength, and perhaps even a slight sense of normalcy, that the chain has not been broken, that we will come out of the present crisis, that there is still much to aspire to. I want to thank my colleagues at Tau Leadership and Management, and especially you all for your commitment, past, present, and future. One last thing, in such times one needs strong and determined leadership, We could not have asked for a better president than Professor Ariel Porat, who has led us through COVID. Who has led us through COVID, the judicial crisis, and now this prolonged war. Professor Porat's first 5-year term has come to an end. In the second part of the plenary, he will be asked to ratify his re-election for another term. His achievements will be demonstrated to you in the coming days. I urge you to read the outstanding annual report that has been prepared especially for you. I wish you an exciting and enlightening experience. I trust you won't regret the effort coming to our annual meeting this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dafna. Now for the next part of our session, we will welcome our new governors. The nominations committee of the Board of Governors met over the past few months to consider new candidates for the board, as well as members whose term has officially ended and those who will remain as honorary members. We are delighted to have with us today some of the new governors who are joining the board this year. I invite Ms. Dafna Meitar-Nechmad and Professor Ariel Porat to take their place at the front of the stage to welcome them. I will now call them up here to the stage to receive their certificate of membership from the Tau Chairwoman and Tau President, along with the head of their local Friends Association. I'd like to start by inviting Dr. Dimitri Repin from Switzerland. Please come to the stage. Thank you, Dr. Repin. I'd now like to invite the National President of Friends of Tel Aviv University, Canada, Ms. Ariella Kotler. And now, please come to the stage, one by one, all new governors from Canada, starting with Stuart Litvak. Now I'd like to invite Ilan Royce to come to the stage, please. Thank you so much to our new Canadian governors. Now I'd like to invite the president of the French Friends of Tel Aviv University, Professor Francois Heilborn. Please come to the stage. And now, please join us on the stage as well, Andre and Therese Harari. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite the president of the German Friends of Tel Aviv University, Mr. Uwe Becker, to please come to the stage. And now please join us on stage as well, Dr. Vanessa Zamberg from Germany. Thank you. Now, give another round of applause. I'd like to now invite the president of the American Friends of Tel Aviv University, Dr. Gary Rayant. Please join us on the stage. And now please join us on the stage as well, Yehuda Naftali from the United States. Thank you. I'd like to now invite the outgoing president of the Israeli Friends of Tel Aviv University, Mr. Amnon Dick. And now, please come to the stage one by one, all of our new governors from right here in Israel. Yifat Oron, the new president of the Israeli Friends of Tel Aviv University. Please join us. Next, I'd like to ask Ruby Shamir to please come join us on the stage. Thank you. And now I'd like to call on Anat Ramati Shashua to please come down to the stage. Thank you. And finally, I'd like to call on Raviv Zoller to please come down to the stage. Thank you very much to all of our new Israeli governors. Dafna, Ariel, and Amnon, if you could please return to your seats and we will, okay, stay on the stage, please. Thank you. Thank you all and welcome to the Tel Aviv University Board of Governors. We wish you all the best of luck.
As you heard, Yifat Oron was nominated as president of the Israeli Friends Association, and Amnon Dick, over the last 10 years, worked tirelessly as president of the Israeli Friends, and now we want to make it official and give him. This is well. This is in Hebrew, so I'm going to try. אני אגיד את זה בעברית, and we'll send out the translation later. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, this is a testimony. I try. That 29th of May 2024, University of Tel Aviv is honoring Amnon Dick, the chair of the Friends Association and what? The Knight of the High Education in Israel, not less, for his dedication in leading the association over a decade, his contribution to the expanding of the Friends community and donors from the top public and business elite of Israel, and tightening the connection with them. On his personal involvement in the proving of the public appearance of the university, the pleasant and warm affection to the team of the association, and the teamwork very fruitful with the leadership of the university, and his sincere efforts and commitment, a deep commitment to the advancement and the success of the university. I made it.
Just to say that Amnon served about 10 years as the president of the association in Israel. He had done a terrific job, numerous activities that took place here, led by Amnon together with Adi Olmert, and such a talented person that his dedication and friendship is very dear to us. So thank you very much for your service.
Thank you. This is not a farewell, it's not an end of a period. I'm continue here as a board member and so forth. And it's a great honor and pleasure to pass the baton to a talented lady, Yifat Oron.
Good luck, Yifat.
Quick photo op, and then we'll continue. Thank you so much. Now you guys can return to your seats. Thank you. Well, unfortunately, not all of our new governors could be with us today, and we warmly welcome those who cannot attend as well. David Bazov from Canada. Joan and the Honorable Norman Simment from the United States. Enon Kreis from the United States. Miguel Gellert Krigsner from Brazil. Yana Kalika Kwam from the United States. Solomon Liu from Australia. Pierre Milchior from France. And Andrew Silberberg from Australia. I'd now like to invite the campaign chair, Dr. Anita Friedman, to the podium for the next part of our session.
It may surprise you, but Tel Aviv is a city full of believers. Not just any believers, the E.A. Bessetter kind of believers. Here, optimism is more than just a word. More than an idea. It's a way of life. That's why in 1948, we felt so optimistic that we declared independence and the State of Israel was born. In Tel Aviv, you just have to believe. Believe you'll overcome traffic, jellyfish, humidity. At Tel Aviv University, we're optimistic that with imagination and curiosity, we can change reality. As optimists, we believe the longer the road, the greater the rewards. We believe that cancer can be beaten, that algae should be eaten. We believe that climate change can be changed. As optimists, we believe that startups can start anywhere. We believe that the science in music can improve mental health, and that in nano and quantum, TAU will be the one to make the leap. Are you optimistic? Join us on the road to breakthroughs. Optimism at work. Tel Aviv University.
Well, here we are together again. It's so moving to be with you, with so many longtime friends, with so many new people, so many people from all over the world, all here. There are many differences among us, maybe politically, different countries, different ages, different orientations, but what brings us together runs very deep and very strong and has brought us together at this moment, at a very critical moment, because we are, in fact, optimistic. What other country has a theme song? Its central song is about the hope, about Hatikva. Only Israel. There's never been a tragedy in the Jewish story of 4,000 years where we haven't emerged stronger at the end, and the same will be true for us now. So we are a people of hope, and we're here, many of us from far and near, to support the university, which is the flagship institution, in my opinion, of the State of Israel. It continues to play a key role in building and rebuilding Israel. Yes, we are at war. This is not a war that Israel chose, but Israel finds herself on the fighting front lines of the democratic world, and she needs our help. We're here at war not only in Israel, but around the world. We know that we face an unleashing of profound Jewish hatred and anti-Semitism and discrimination, but we also have many friends and many allies. I'm from San Francisco, California, very far away on the American frontier, but I spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C., and I can tell you that the depth of commitment to the State of Israel from the United States remains very, very strong in the administration and in Congress, and it will continue. These are uneasy times. Thank you. These are uneasy times, all the more reason for us to be together. You know, in many ways, when I talk to many of you, I know that being here, our hearts are broken, but being here also restores our faith. It restores our faith in our future, and that is a source of strength and resilience, and truly the source of hope. For me, there is nothing more inspiring than to be here with you. Each of you has a profound personal story. Each of you is here at this moment, in this place, because you have a very deep personal reason for being here. Your family histories are also full of tragedy, but also full of triumph. And if I asked each of you, if there's one person in your life you can think of, at least one, who would be very proud to know that you're here in Israel at this moment, at this place, to do this work together, you could name the person who would be very proud to know that you carry on the legacy. And that is a profound source of personal strength to each of us. It really matters. In the past, I was honored to chair the global campaign. That was the first major campaign, I think all of you are quite aware of that, where we raised $1 billion, which was an enormous achievement, mostly for operations. So congratulations. And now, Now we're entering yet another campaign, because the campaign continues. In order to do our work, obviously, we have to attend to the financing. And that's what I want to discuss with you today. What is the way forward for us in order to adequately finance this extraordinary institution? We're announcing the 21st Century Comprehensive Campaign. Such an effort is key to a world-class institution like this. I've had the opportunity to work with many universities in their fundraising efforts, with Stanford, with New York University, with all the universities of California, and with many others. There is no world-class university that doesn't have reserves, doesn't have an endowment. And the one factor that differentiates a really world-class, exceptional institution like this one from mediocrity is having philanthropy and having reserves, having an endowment. So we are announcing this comprehensive campaign that includes three major components. It includes building our endowment from where it is right now, which is very small, maybe 600 some million for a university of this size, to $1 billion, raising annual funds for existing programs and also for buildings. This kind of comprehensive campaign creates opportunity for everyone to be able to invest in building this flagship institution for the State of Israel. Up until now, Israel largely funds this through government, as you know, and an institution like this lives from hand to mouth. But we can't only be dependent on government, and we can't only be dependent on an annual campaign. Every person, every family should have both a checking account and a savings account. An endowment is our savings account. It gives us the reserves, the resilience, and the strength that we need. And given the contradictions that we face right now in how to finance an organization like this, we know we need to diversify our finance and have many sources of revenue. We're launching this campaign now to coincide with President Porat's tenure. I think we all know that his tenure so far has been extraordinary under really difficult, challenging circumstances, and he deserves a tremendous amount of credit. Our next campaign will also coincide with his tenure. Thank you. Thank you. We have leadership here that we can trust. There's nothing more important than having leadership you could trust in President Porat and also in Dafna, our chairman. Okay. They put their heart and souls into this work on behalf of all of us because, in fact, Israel is a project of the Jewish people, and it's in all of our interests to keep it strong. We are seeking donors to invest in the long term with legacy gifts, with naming gifts. It's always very moving to me how many of you have long-term involvements with this university. Grandparents, parents, your children even, all involved in this organization. And it's a source of tremendous and deep meaning to all of us that we are here involved with this organization. So we are welcoming those kind of naming gifts. We're welcoming talking to you about legacy gifts, including us in your estate plans. There is no major institution that I can think of in the world that doesn't have that capacity, and we must have that capacity too. As I know many of you are Talmud and Torah scholars, so you probably remember what the question in the Talmud, if you want fruit, when is the best time to plant? Somebody said now? The best, getting close? This is like a little yeshiva group, you know? So you think this, and you think this, and this one thinks that. 20 years ago is the best time to plant if you want fruit. That's the best time. But what's the second best time? Now. Good. Bravo. Bravo. Why Tau? I am also the president of a major foundation in the United States, the Cred Foundation, that invests in Jewish life, in strengthening the Jewish people. And when I looked at Israel, about where do we want to get involved, there's so many different options for getting involved in Israel, and many of us are involved in many different institutions here, but we chose Tel Aviv University. We chose Tel Aviv University because not only has it so beautifully supported the war effort and risen to the occasion under these difficult circumstances, but it demonstrates national leadership and is involved in so many different ways throughout the entire state of Israel and in the world. Our work is vital in agriculture and economics and medicine and technology. We know all that. We have many projects with the IDF. We are involved from Kiryat Shmona in the north to Sderot in the south. And we know that our role is going to be really essential when the war is over. I am convinced, and I think many of you are convinced too, when this is over, there will be a new Israel. There will be a new Israel. Yes. And there will also be a stronger global Jewish people, because this has been a great awakening for world Jewry. There were times before the war when we felt there was a parting of the ways between the diaspora and Israel. This whole experience has been a wake-up call that, in fact, our individual fates are linked to the collective fate, and we will be stronger as a result. Jewish law says that it's illegal to count Jews. Torah scholars know this. It's illegal to count Jews, according to Jewish law. So we've always been a small people. Now, why is it illegal to count Jews? Some say it's because we've always been a small people, and if we counted and we knew how many we actually were, we would despair. Some say it's because God doesn't want us to count individuals, but wants us to appreciate that we're all made in the image of God. I like a little more of a poetic interpretation that some rabbis have put forth. And that interpretation is that God wants us to measure our contributions to the world. And that's how we measure the strength of the Jewish people, based on our contributions. Numerically, we are small, but our contributions to civilization are absolutely vast and extraordinary, which brings us back to Tel Aviv University. We need to make Israel competitive. We need to bring in new people. We need to bring in the younger generation. All of those efforts are currently in play, both here and throughout the world. We will renew our campaign efforts. We will restructure our campaign. We will bring in new people. We will more deeply involve our existing people, and we will build a strong endowment which will keep us strong through the next generations. It's important to recognize that we have always been moving this world in a better direction as Jews. That is our role. That is our purpose, to move this imperfect world in a better direction. And in recent years, we've been on the defensive. We're going to change that. We are going to change the narrative about Israel's role in this world. And Tel Aviv University is a part of changing the narrative so that we're not always in the defensive, but we're also getting recognition for our extraordinary contributions that make us absolutely invaluable to the entire planet. Tel Aviv University is, to me, the essence of what it means to be Jewish. It's about the beauty of life. It's about learning. It's about raising up all our children, all God's children. Tel Aviv University welcomes Jews, Arabs, Christians, all God's children in common cause. It's about pursuing our highest ideals as a people. It's about what we stand for. And it basically puts into practice the pursuit of our highest goal, which is self-determination for the Jewish people. So I'm proud to announce also that to kick off the campaign, our comprehensive 21st century campaign, my foundation will start it off with $1 million. And that $1 million will go for use where most needed, and it will go to a discretionary fund for President Porat to decide how he thinks that money should be best used. So I want to end with a story, because I have an Uncle Solomon who lives in Brooklyn, and he is the source of all Jewish knowledge. So I said to Uncle Solomon, and some of you know this story because some of you are my friends and you know my Uncle Solomon. I said, Uncle Solomon, I'm going to Israel, I'm going to Tel Aviv University, I'm going to be helping them to raise money. It's such an honor to serve you, to serve the people, to serve Tel Aviv University. I'm glad they asked me. And by the way, it's so much fun to be a campaign chair that when it's your turn, you're going to love it. So keep that in mind. So he said, well, remind them, when you meet with them, remind them of an old Talmudic story. There was a donor, big donor, gave a lot of money, and said to God, look, I gave so much money. What's my reward? And God thought about it, and she thought about it. And then she said, your reward is the opportunity to do more. So we are indeed very optimistic. We are full of hope. We are looking forward to the future. And we say always at Tel Aviv University, chazak, 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 v'nit hazech. Be strong, be strong, be strong. May we strengthen each other. And God bless you for all the good you're doing in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Friedman. We are now going to take a short 20-minute break, after which we will hear from Professor Talia Fisher regarding the re-election of President Porat, as well as a presentation by President Porat on the state of the university. So we'll see you back here in 20 minutes.